Hey everybody, it's John Morley, and welcome once again to my channel, Positive Vibrational Waves. I hope you've had a great week. We have changed the format of the channel in that we record once a week and try to put together a really impactful presentation for you. Of course, if you do like my content, it's great to let YouTube know that by just go ahead and clicking on the subscribe button at the lower right and go ahead and smashing the bell. And this way, you'll be notified immediately once I post future content. And of course, give us a thumbs up. So, what are we going to talk about tonight, Sunday? Well, I was thinking about, what I want to talk about in terms of, being positive. And I think one thing that I thought that was really important to bring to mind is commitment. And although there's all types of commitment, there's relationship commitment, there is commitment at work, there's commitment with friends, there's commitment in other types of situations, such as volunteer commitment. And, how is it that you get commitment from people? Because commitment is not an easy thing. Everyone always says they're going to do something, and then, maybe they have good intentions of doing something, but then they don't actually follow through. I'm sure this never happens to any of you. However, I have found that, when you are picking volunteers or when you're asking somebody to do something, you have to kind of test it out with something a little bit smaller to see if they can handle the larger commitment. And then this way, when you've had a couple small commitments and they can live up to those, then there's a chance that they might be able to live up to the larger one. But just realize at any point in time during your friendship, during your process together, you may become disappointed, unfortunately. And just, have a backup plan, because even though people's intentions are always good, sometimes people don't come through. And that's not a bad thing. It's just you need to realize that you can't run your life just because someone else didn't do something. I always said this to you before, is that, the only person that has the right to make you inferior is yourself. And people, should make you happy, but don't rely on their skills to make you happy. You need to make yourself happy. That's really important. So, a few tips I have for you about commitment. One is this: if you're going to ask somebody to commit and you've had them do smaller things for you, and that's worked out great, I guess you have to get them to commit, not just asking them, but you have to get them to take personal ownership, maybe get a little emotional about it. And once you can see that they've done that and that maybe they're putting together a plan or whatever it is, I think that's important, because when they know that you're going to come back to them and see if they're accountable, that's important. No, maybe you ask somebody to do something and they say, oh, sure, sure, I'm going to do it. You say, I understand, Brian, you're going to do it for me. I understand, Michelle, you're going to do it for me. And that's great. And I know you're very busy. And I just want to let you know that um, this is something that's pretty important to me. So, are you going to have the kind of time that's necessary to do this? Are you going to have the 10 minutes a month or 20 minutes a week or something? Are you going to have that time? Oh, yeah, sure, absolutely. When do you think you're probably going to do it? In the morning? And you can ask these kinds of questions. I don't know, probably at night. Well, that's great. So now you have a little bit more, let's say, skin in the game. You know that they're going to actually do it. So what's the next step? Well, the next step is, gee, Brian, gee, Mike, gee, Chris, gee, Michelle, thank you so much for helping me out with this. I greatly appreciate it. And, it's really important because, I know that you wouldn't commit to something that you would not follow through on. And that's what I like about you. You have such a respect and a cunningness that, you'll get anything done when your friends ask you to do something, or your coworkers, whoever it is. And you have to make them feel good. And now what you've done is you've built them up in a way that they're not going to let you down. Because if they let you down, they're going to let themselves down. I know, Brian, you're a great guy. You're always considerate. You're always helpful. And I know that when you promise things to your friends, you always get them done because you understand how important something is, and understand that if somebody didn't do something for you, you would feel devastated. So you would never want your friend to feel that way. Thus, you're always going to get things done for them. And I think that's important. And then, maybe you're going to follow up and say, gee, well, I'll touch base with you maybe the end of the week and see if you have any questions or whatever. And that's fine. I think it's important to realize that you have to test your friend or your coworker or spouse with other small things. I was going to say your spouse or significant other with small things. You have to do that. And if you can do that and you can be elated with the results, then you can move on to something bigger. For example, if you ask your friend maybe to pick up your mail for you while you're away for one day, you don't want to put your mail on hold for one day, you're going to ask them. And it's not a great big deal. If they don't pick up your mail, it's not a big deal, but you kind of like them to do it so that when you come home, you'd be able to go there and things wouldn't be in your mailbox and you'd be able to have it. Okay, great. So what's something that would be a little more significant, a little more meaningful in the mail? Well, maybe you ask them to pick up something for you. And, maybe there was a place near where they work and you'd like them to do something for you and say, gee, I know you're close to this place that I needed to pick something up at. I was wondering, would you be open to picking something up for me? I'll give you the money. I just need you to pick it up like sometime this week. Would that be okay? Oh, sure. I'll do that. Not a problem. So now you get that commitment and they do it. And then all of a sudden you either get two things. One, they don't do it, or B, they do it. So when they do it, it's like, thanks, Brian. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Do I owe you anything else for gas or anything? And that's all. And they're usually going to say no. The next thing you might do, besides asking to pick something up, maybe you need something a little more significant. Maybe you need them to help you with either it's a political cause or maybe help you with a campaign or something and say, hey, Brian, I need you to help me. Would you help go campaign with me? Would you help me with this? Would you help me take care of this event? That's something a little bit more meaningful. And then the third thing might be that you say, gee, I really need your help. And now maybe you're asking them to help you with a project. Maybe you're moving and, you're moving next week and you asked your friend if they would help you move. And they say, of course. Now, in the past, and you could say something like this, Brian, I'm really grateful for everything you do for me and the fact that, you're going to help me move. I know a lot of friends that, you ask them to move and it's like suddenly they become busy or they have these emergencies and they don't really want to do it because it's not really in their heart. And this is what I like about you so much is that, I know if I ask you to do something and you don't want to do it, you're going to tell me. You're not going to lie to my face. And that's just one of the many reasons I find you to be such a great friend. And you pump them up a little bit, I know what other people are like when I ask them to do things. And that's why I only ask one or two people like yourself, because I know I can trust them. And you guys understand that when you let me down, you know what it feels like, because if someone ever let you down, you wouldn't want me to feel that same way. And I think that's important. And so you have a respect for me, and I am greatly appreciative of that. And that's what it is. And that's why I know that whenever I ask you something, I know you're going to come through for me. It's just, I don't even have to think. I know that unless there's some catastrophic event, you're going to come through, rain or shine or snow. And they're going to feel really good about that. And when you talk with them and say, hey, it's really great, I really appreciate it. And now they're not going to want to skip out on you and not do what it is they said they're going to do. Okay? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've been enjoying these weekly sessions. Tonight we talked about commitment. We'll talk about commitment a little more in relationships in the future, but I thought commitment was kind of important just in the general sense because a lot of times people expect someone to do something and then they get disappointed because they didn't do it, because they had an emergency, a whole plethora of excuses. But the real truth is that they just didn't want to do it. And, you might have not reacted the same way because you know that you would have done it for the person, but they didn't treat you the same way you were treating them. So I think it's important to understand, and you do have to test people, unfortunately, so you know whether there's someone that you can, put your confidence in. Because you can't just trust someone to just do something for you if you don't know them, right? So you have to build a little bit of a trust or a bond. Well, anyway, my name is John Morley, if you didn't know by now. You've been watching my channel, Positive Vibrational Waves. If you do like my content, please go ahead and click on the subscribe icon on the lower right. Then go ahead and give us a thumbs up. You can smash that. And also don't forget to hit the bell notification icon so that you are alerted as soon as I publish new content. I will see you again next Sunday night. We are a weekly channel, broadcasting once a week. And I hope that all your minutes, your days, hours, seconds, milliseconds, and microseconds are filled with the most tranquility, the most peace, the most joy, the most abundance, and the most everlasting promises of desire and goals that you will ever want to achieve. And I will see you next Sunday, and have yourself a wonderful week.